so we're going to be looking at slightly harder questions to do with angles around a point. So you can see the diagram here is given to us, and we've been given some information about this as well. So the information we have is that FD, which is this line here, is a straight line, and AC is also a straight line. Now EB is straight, but it doesn't kind of extend out. It's just EB is that bit there. You can't assume that this is a straight line, because in some diagrams, for example, you might get a line that looks like that and then it goes off very slightly. So unless it specifically says it's a straight line, in this case it does, we can't make that assumption just because of that risk that it's not actually straight. It might look straight, but we don't know unless we're told. So in this case, to work out ABF, let's work out where the angle is first. ABF, so trace your finger from A to B and then from B to F. So this is the angle that we need to work out. So let's just draw a nice arc there. And then we're going to use the fact that AC is a straight line. So we can see if this is a straight line, AC, if I just do a big thick line there, then this green angle plus this 115 has to be 180. So let's use that fact here. Let me get rid of that red line. So we can say this green angle here, which is ABF, so angle ABF plus 115 must equal 280. And then we can say angle ABF equals 180 minus 115. And then we can just work that out. So from this, you're going to get 65 degrees. And that's your answer there. The reason, it says give reasons, is straightforward. It's just angles on a line sum to 180. If you want to be super strict about it, it should be angles on a line at a point sum to 180 degrees. You should not say angles on a line equal 180. That doesn't make sense to say that. Okay, so we've got that, and we've labeled it on the diagram. We're just about to. So we can see that this is going to be 65. Now we're going to work out CBD. So let's work out where the angle is. So C to B and B to D. So this is the angle we want. And we know that FD, which is this line here, is a straight line. So that must mean that these two angles must sum to 180. So it's actually going to give us a calculation very similar to the previous question. So we're going to say angle CBD, I can't write, angle CBD plus 115 equals 180. And it turns out it's actually exactly the same calculation. So angle CBD is equal to 65 degrees, and it's for the same reasons. Angles around a point sum to 180. Okay, and now we're going to label that 65 degrees. And the last angle we want to work out is DBE. Now we've got a few ways to do this. We could treat this as a single point and add up all of the angles and say 360 take away all of the other angles that we know will give you DBE. So DBE is this red angle here, because if you trace your finger along that path, you can see that. The other way to do this is if you just focus on the straight line AC, and you know that these two angles plus EBD or DBE have to sum to 180. So that's the other way to do it. There's no preference on this, it's just whatever you prefer. I'm going to go for angles on a straight line. So we're going to say angle DBE plus this 65-degree angle here is DBC, plus this 75-degree angle is EBA, and they're going to equal 180. So 180 is equal to DBE plus, and now we can just replace these with the angles 65 and 75. So 180 minus 65 minus 75 is equal to DBE, and that is going to give you 40 degrees. You may have done this a different way and that would have been fine. Now the reason that we've used, because the question says give reasons, is angles on a line sum to 180. We didn't use the full 360 rule, but we would have been allowed to do that if we wanted to. So we just need to write angles on a line sum to 180. Okay, I should say degrees. Let's look at another example here. These are just slightly neater. We can do some write-ups on there if you need to copy that out. Here's another practice question for you to try. Pause the video and have a go in your books or whiteboards. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to work this out now. So we've been given a few facts here and we need to start labeling the diagram to make it easier because none of these are written on the diagram itself. So we can see that BGF, if you trace our finger along here, so BGF is this angle here, is equal to DGF. So DGF is this angle there. They're equal to each other. So we might decide to just call them both X since they're the same angle. So we can say this is X and this is also X. Then we're told that angle AGD is 110. So AGD is this angle here. And then we know that this is going to be 110. So we can draw the arc and label it 110. And then angle CGE, so CGE is this angle here, is half of DGA. Well, we know what DGA is. DGA is 110 because we've worked that out from the previous part. And if we're going to half that, it's going to give us 55 degrees. So CGE is 55 degrees. We've actually already done quite a lot of maths here. And it's asking us to give reasons and work out angle DGE. So DGE is this angle here. So where's D? There's DGE. So we're going to need to work out these two angles and that one. I've noticed that we don't actually have any information about the other angle there. So there's another piece of information that's important. You've been told that AB and CD are straight lines. So let's start off by working out angle X. We've got two of these angles, angle X's. So if we know that this is a straight line, as it tells us in the question, then it must mean that these three angles must sum to 180. So let's work that out first. So 110 plus X is equal to 180. 110 plus 2X equals 180. We take away 110, 2x is equal to 70. So divide by 2, x equals 35 degrees. So we can label this on our diagram. So this is going to be equal to 35 degrees, and this is also equal to 35 degrees. Now we are going to change colors because we're going to be working out this angle here, so BGE. So let's say angle BGE. We know that because CD is a straight line, which it tells us here, we know that these angles will add up to 180. So this plus this plus this plus this, they all have to, those four have to add up to 180. So let's write this out here. So 55 plus EGB plus 35 plus 35 is equal to 180. And then we're going to tidy this up. So 55 plus and then 35 plus 35 is 125. So EGB plus 125 equals 180. So EGB equals 180 minus 125, and that's going to give us 55 degrees. So we can now label this as 55 degrees. And then to the question, change colors again, and we're going to look at the angle it wants us to work out, DGE. So D to G to E. We need to add up these three angles. So angle DGE is equal to 35 plus 35 plus 55 degrees. So that's 70 plus 55, which is 125 degrees. There's your answer. And the reason for this is angles. This last bit doesn't have a reason, it's just adding angles up. But the green and the red is just angles on a straight line summed to 180. Now, there's a slightly neater write-up here that you can follow if you want to show how to lay your working out. Hope that's useful. Smash the like button. We're going to continue looking at angles in the next video.
I'm afraid your journey ends here, traveler. I'll be taking whatever you're carrying. After you're dead, of course. I do hope it's more than the last few had. They were most disappointing.